Hey guys, and welcome to another video on the PES Card Collection YouTube channel. Today we're going to be giving you 10 tips for newer players to the game that can help prepare you for success on your journey to endgame. If you have any game related questions, or you're a more experienced player and you have tips that may have been left out and you think are vital for newcomers, leave them in the comments below. I will be adding the best questions with answers, as well as some of the best tips that were left off the list in the video description, so check that out if you want even more information. Now, let's get into the video. But first, why not like the video and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you can be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Tip number 1. Reroll your account until you have at least 1 to 3 game-changing players. When you make a new account, you're given some free cards to get you started, as well as some free prime balls to spend on draws. Once you've used up all of your freebies, you must decide if what you got is good enough to start your team or not. And if you do not have at least 1 to 3 game changers in your team, I would highly recommend deleting the account and trying again until you have a few quality players to start building your team around. You will see in the video what it looks like to go through this process. Rerolling is something I did not know about when I first started. I really wish I knew, because it can give you a big head start on getting to an end game team. Game-changing players are players like Messi, Ronaldo, any of the legends, or other 3-skill players. These will be players with an overall grade of at least 100. Depending on when you start playing, legends might not be available, because they are only available in draws for a limited amount of time every couple of weeks. So if you have the patience to wait for them to come before starting your account, you can. Or, if not, go for the other game changers. I've seen people reroll starter accounts with 300 plus players in their team, but it takes a lot of time and luck to get this, so just reroll until you're satisfied enough to start. If you're a new player who already has a team, I would recommend rerolling your account even if you've played for 1 to 3 weeks already, but only if you don't have at least 2 game changers in your team. This is because starting off with a good starting team is a massive head start in the game, as it is hard to get game changers from draws, so starting with 2 is worth scrapping a 1 to 3 week old account to get. Tip number 2. Build multiple teams. Most new players come into the game and just focus on getting their starting 11 to as powerful as they can, as fast as they can. This is good to do, but is also worth saving a few of the players that can't make it into your starting team and start building what is referred to as type teams. Each player has a type, such as power, stamina, speed, technique, etc. And there's events that require you to only use certain players with that certain type. These events have great rewards for your account, so it is worthwhile saving certain players even if they cannot make it into your main team, so they can play for the type team. There is also an endgame event called Ren Pa Do, which requires 3 powerful teams, but you won't need to worry about that until at least 100k team power. Tip number 3. Don't discard 4-star players that could be upgraded soon. Every year in PES Card Collection, a new set of updated cards are released, to reflect how players have played over the year. Along with this, limited edition sets of cards are released every couple of months, like Dynamos, Guardians, Strikers, and lots more. You can see examples of these cards in some of my other videos. A link to the playlist will be linked in the description below the video. Most new players find themselves discarding all their 4-star players once their starting team is all 5-star plus. But you could find yourself regretting that in the future. What a lot of veteran players do, who also know a bit about football in real life, is save their 4-star player cards of players who are young and promising in real life that you would expect to be raised to a 5-star player in the near future. This is because 4-star players are a lot easier to get, and there isn't a large pool of players of them, so you find yourself getting duplicates a lot. So they limit break the 4-star players as much as possible. Then, if they get an upgraded to a 5-star in an update, you can fuse the 4-star player into the 5-star player and keep all the limit breaks. It's a lot harder to get duplicate 5-star players for limit breaks. An example of this for me, when this really paid off, was with Kai Havertz. I had his 4-star refraction card I was saving for a few months, and built up 6 limit breaks on him. Then, when he was upgraded to 5-star, I managed to get him, and when I fused them together, I had myself a 5-star refraction player with 7 limit breaks on it, which made a very nice addition to my team. A good set of limited edition cards to look out for anyone who's using this method is the Cutting Edge cards. These are highly upgraded versions of the best young players in the world, so if you have any young 4-star cards saved up, these draws could really help your team out. These 4-star players you save up are also great squad fillers for your type teams. Tip number 4. Focus on upgrading your game changers first. If you followed the reroll method, you should have 1 to 3 game changers in your team. These are the cards you will want to work on first. If you didn't follow that method, save up your limit break points for when you have a player of at least 100 overall or higher. Just for anyone who's very new, limit breaks are used to upgrade a player's overall level by 1, and you can add 10 to each player. You get these by fusing 2 of the same cards together, not including metal cards of course, or by spending 50,000 limit break points, which can be earned by selling cards. Then you could limit break a card of your choice. Once your team is fully leveled, limit breaks are basically what you will be working on until you reach endgame. This is not something you'll be worrying about until a few months into the game. Once you have a full 5-star team and a few type teams, you'll be getting players that have no use to you at all. If you discard them, you will get limit break points, and you can use them to upgrade your team even further. It takes 5 5-star players to get 50,000 limit break points, and you can use them to limit break a card of your choosing. But you want to make sure you use them wisely. Because it takes so long to acquire 50,000 points, you only want to spend them on cards you are sure will be in your team for the long term. When I first started playing, I would limit break everyone in my starting lineup, and as I got upgrades to positions, the limit breaks turned out to be a total waste. For example, if you have a 93 overall left back, do not waste any limit break points on him, because he'll be replaced very soon. The same applies for player skills, but to a less extreme. At the beginning, you might not have much training items to unlock and max out all the player skills for everyone in your starting squad. So focus first on your game changers, and then you can unlock some skills on your less important players. But don't worry about maxing the skills, unless you have tons of training items, because the lower level players you use at the beginning of the game will most likely just be type team players for you once you reach endgame, so do not waste too much resources on them. Tip number 5. Save your Prime Balls for what your team needs most. Prime Balls are the ultimate currency in PES Card Collection. The more of this you have, the faster your team will grow. If you're not willing to spend real money on Prime Balls, you will have to slowly accumulate them in the game through missions, weekly events, and other methods. Because it takes a while to earn them, you want to make sure to use them well, so you can improve your team the fastest. When I first started, I didn't know anything about the game, and as soon as I got 250 Prime Balls, I would just use them on premium draws, or if I couldn't wait, I would do the 25 Prime Ball single draws. But this is a very bad move. The best way to go about spending your Prime Balls depends on the state of your current team. If your team is still very new, and you're working on getting a starting squad of all 5-star players, you have lots of options. The main thing you want to look out for is guaranteed 5-star player draws. Many draws have 30% chance at a 5-star player, which is something that you want to avoid at all costs, because you can find yourself spending 250 Prime Balls and walking away with a 4-star player who does nothing for your team. Some of the better 5-star guaranteed draws that you will want to look out for would be retry draws, which will allow you to do the draw again one more time if you aren't satisfied with your first draw results, or the 2 5-star player guaranteed draws, which guarantee at least 2 5-star players per draw. I will leave a link in the video description to the website that has a list of some of the draws available in the game, along with videos showing you what you can expect from these draws, so you can make your mind up on which draws you want to hold out for. These draws usually come around every few weeks, so be patient. If you rush to spend all your Prime Balls, you will regret it when the better draws come around and you are broke. If your team is very good in most positions, but you are very weak in one specific area, you can wait for the limited series draws. So for example, if you are in need of an attacking midfielder, you can save up your Prime Balls until the Playmakers or International Playmakers series drops. Whenever the new cards are released, there are draws with increased odds of getting those new cards. So, if you have enough Prime Balls saved, you can walk away with a very nice new attacking midfielder. And finally, if your team is basically perfect, and the only cards that can make it into your starting lineup are game changers, then it's very worth it to start saving your Prime Balls for legend draws. Every couple of weeks these come out, with new limited edition legends, and these legends are basically the top of the top cards in the game. The odds of getting them are very low, but you want to save up 2,500 Prime Balls for 10 draws, giving you a maximum odds of getting them. And even still, there's a high chance you will not get a legend, but you will still walk away with quite a few 5-star cards. That is why it is nice to try reroll a new account with a legend on it if there are any legend draws available when you start your account. It is also worth noting, every new year, there's a draw that comes out with a guaranteed legend on the 10th draw, and higher odds of legends on the draws before that. Plus, it's usually a new, very strong legend, so when it starts getting close towards the end of the year, it's worth saving up 2,500 Prime Balls in anticipation of this draw. You will most likely regret it if you don't. Currently in PES Card Collection, you can only have 3 legends in your team at a time. So eventually, you'll have 3 legends you are happy with, and these draws will no longer be worth it for you. At this point, there's a couple of useful draws to look out for, like the Refraction Guarantee draw, which hopefully can get you refraction versions of one of your starters as an upgrade to your team further. Also, the Gold Boot Talent Guaranteed draws are quite useful, as it's hard to unlock gold talents, and these draws allow you to give a gold talent to any player of your choice. Draws are all based on what you think your team needs the most. Some people save for legends right away, others wait. It's completely up to you. Just be smart with your Prime Balls, because they're hard to come by. But if you're not into using Prime Balls on draws, some people save up and spend them all on their weekly events in hopes of getting high-ranking rewards. But this requires a crazy amount of time and energy to rank anywhere near high enough to justify the amount of Prime Balls you use. So I highly recommend you do not do this, unless you're willing to play all day for several days straight without sleep. Tip number 6. Player skills and positions are everything. At endgame, when all the teams are amazing, what makes the most difference between a win and a loss is what skills your players have and what position they're playing in. The first thing you want to look for in your endgame card is that you have at least 2 gold skills. 3 is amazing, but those cards are a lot harder to get. Next, you want to make sure those skills will fit their positions. Goalkeeper skills don't make much of a difference, so it depends what you look for from your keeper. If it's a defender or defensive midfielder, you want them to have at least 2 defensive skills, like precise tackle or interceptor. For the defensive midfielders or fullbacks, you can get away with only having 1 defensive skill. But really, you want at least 2 to be the most efficient. Attacking midfielders is mostly up to your preference, but players with long distance shots like Phenomenal Shot are usually very effective. For wingers, I personally like Inside Cutter and something like Goal Hunter so they could finish after cutting in. Most crossing skills aren't very useful, so stay away from those. And the striker is also more of a personal choice. I like one dribbling skill and another finishing skill, so they can make opportunities for themselves. However, as new players and skills are introduced to the game, the meta will constantly change. So go on forums or ask in the comments below what currently works and do a bit of research to decide your team. But make sure to focus on the skills, because they will win you games. Tip number 7. Be efficient. If you wish to be as successful as you can, as fast as you can, it is important to be efficient in what you do in PES Card Collection. I will give you a few tips that I wish I knew at the start that will help keep you from making decisions that will slow down the progress of your team. Most people go right away into Road to Glory or 11s matches, but it is better first to focus on player skills and leveling by doing skill games and training games to max out all the players in your main team. This is because there's weekly events that come around that require you to play Road to Glory or 11s matches, and they come along with added rewards, so it's like hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. If you grind out these modes while the events are active, you will save a lot of time and resources. Another neat tip that will save you a lot of time is when you are in a game, if you hit the settings button at the top right, you can change the match speed from normal to fast. When you first start the game, you might enjoy watching the matches, but after grinding for a couple of weeks and seeing your team beat hundreds of teams by over 10 goals, you're going to want to speed up the matches in order to get more matches complete in a less amount of time. Using the faster game speed, as well as the fast forward button at the bottom right of the games, you can increase how many games you can finish per hour exponentially. In order to best improve your account in the early game and efficiently use your time, you may need to skip certain events. If you choose to skip an event, spend the week using your energy on skill matches or working towards bettering your team in other departments. Take the time to look at event rewards and the amount of points required for them, and if it's not worth it for your account, don't be afraid to skip the event. Or if you're coming into a new event and you don't know if it's worth it for your account or not, you can drop a comment below and ask me if you think it is. I will respond to all comments and help you decide if this event is for you or not. Wasting time on an event with poor rewards is extremely inefficient and takes away time you could have spent elsewhere. Tip number 8. Resource management. A big part of having a successful account that can breeze through each weekly event without much effort is resource management. You want to have a good stream of prime balls coming in from different sources, as well as enough GP and BP in reserve to complete events without having to spend your prime balls on refills. Throughout your journey, you will receive GP and BP refill bottles, which will give you extra energy to play more games. Most new players just waste them to level up as quickly as possible. However, it is worth saving them and only using them when you need them during events to reach certain reward milestones. Because if you end an event with a few points short of a reward you wanted because you didn't have enough GP to play more games, you will feel very disappointed. Another valuable resource in the game are the medal cards. As you're playing the game, you'll receive medal cards which can fuse into your better players to get them new talents. You want to hang on to every 3-star medal you receive in case you get that player in the future, because it takes 5 talents to unlock a player's bonus talent, which is always a gold talent that makes the card a lot better. Even if the medal is for a player that you would never use, even if you got him, you can exchange these medal cards in the medal mixer during the circus event for new medal cards, which gives you another chance at getting a more useful medal. So it is worth hanging on to all 3-star medals. Going along with that, it is also useful to never discard any refraction medals or cards. If you do not know what this is, it is the card you see that is shiny and the stars under it are in red. This can be fused over onto your 5-star player, making them a refraction card, greatly increasing their attributes. For this reason, it is vital to hold on to any 3-star refraction medals, and even if it's a 1 or 2-star medal, I still hold on to them, just in case they get an upgrade in the future. Now, if you've been saving all these 3-star medal cards and building multiple teams, you must be getting annoyed with the card limit and constantly having to delete cards that you don't want in order to make space to collect more. You can expand your card box limit by going into Settings, Prime Ball Store, and then clicking on Expand Card Box. For every 5 Prime Balls you spend, you can get an additional 5 cards, which can be a very useful investment. Something that may sound a bit obvious, but is still worth stating because it helps build your resource pools, is to make sure you always complete your daily and weekly missions. These are always very simple and easy to do, but give you decent rewards and resources that are vital to your account in the long run. You can click on the yellow ribbon on the homepage to see these missions. Double check every day to make sure you've completed them all. There are also normal missions there as well that are completed over time. These normal missions will reward you with some very nice prizes. Sometimes you'll be handed out a draw ticket as a reward from doing certain tasks. New players usually go and use these on any draw that is currently available, and it often ends up in poor rewards. This is due to draw percentages. Instead, if you want to maximize your rewards from these draw tickets, it is best to save them all up like a resource and only use them when the championship comes around and spend them on Prometheus draws, which are the draws that give out legends. These draws have the highest chance of getting a 5-star player from the draw tickets, and there's also a chance of getting a legend. I got my Ronaldinho from a draw ticket, and even though I already have 3 legends, I always save up my tickets for Prometheus draws. At the start of the game, it's hard to start saving Prime Balls. You earn some from dailies and weeklies, but you also need to find other ways to get in some Prime Balls. A nice way to get a large chunk of them is to complete your first 20 friendly matches. Each time you play a new player in a friendly match, you will receive an amount of Prime Balls, and after you've completed 20 matches, you will receive a grand total of 230 Prime Balls. You will also receive a few friendly coins that can be spent on BP or GP refill bottles. However, you must match with the player manually, so it is a bit difficult, but I have a link in the video description to a video guide that will show you a method to get this done very quickly and easily. It is definitely worth the time for the amount of Prime Balls you get in return. Another easy way to get a few Prime Balls every couple of weeks is to build up some two-way followers. Two-way followers are people that you have followed and that follow you back. You can see who you follow and who follows you in the settings section by clicking on followers. If you both log in during a day, you will both be rewarded with a point. Once the two-way follower login meter fills up, you will get given free Prime Balls, so it is worth building up a two-way follower list. You can do this in a few ways. You can drop your code in the comments below. You can find your code by looking at the top of your followers page. It's the 9-digit number. Hopefully people then will follow you, and then you just have to follow them back, and you will become two-way followers. You can also drop your code on forums, or you can even follow people in-game after you've played with or against them in certain game modes, and then you just have to hope they follow you back. There will be a flag option beside their name to follow them. Once your list is full, you should go through and delete anyone who hasn't followed you back or hasn't logged on for a few days to make space for new active followers. You don't make much Prime Balls, but it's a nice little bonus whenever the bar fills up. If you'd like, you can follow me. I will try to follow back as many people as I can whenever I have space on my follower list, My code is 284897237. Tip number 9. Never get too high or too low. Oftentimes players really want a player, and if they get that card, they are ecstatic. But if they don't get it, they get angry or feel very disappointed. It is important to keep a level head in this game. Sometimes you go for months with no luck. Then, other times you will get multiple amazing players in a week. You just have to keep a level head in both scenarios and keep on grinding. And also, keep in mind the game is constantly on a power creep. When I first started playing, a 97 overall player was amazing. Now, they're pretty much obsolete. Same goes for the limited edition cards. I got a Playmakers 97 Ozil that I thought would be in my team forever, but he's already become pretty weak compared to new cards. So always think about the future in this game, and never invest too much for one card, because chances are, next year, there will be better options. Tip number 10. Subscribe to the channel. Cheap plug, I know, I'm sorry, but it really will help. We post tons of PES Card Collection related content. We have lots of event guides and plan on making more in the future. We make tips and tricks videos, and we post lots of draw videos so you can watch and see what some people get, and then you can decide if you want to do the draw or not. Plus, we reply to all comments, so if you need help with anything at all, you can just drop a comment and we will try to help out to the best of our abilities. But anyways, that's all the tips I have for you for now. We plan on making a part 2 for this video in the near future, so if you have any tips you think new players should know, leave them in the comments below. I will add them to the list in the video description, and it might make it in the next video as well. Also, if you are new and still have some questions, feel free to drop a comment. I will try to help everyone out as much as possible. Good luck to all you new players, and until next time, have a good one.